The fear that I always had when I was growing up was not being able to communicate with someone. Is this person going to accommodate me? Oh my God, is this person going to be really thoughtful? That's the fear I always get. And how do I live by it? I realized that not everybody's educated the same. It was hard in the beginning, like I said, but I never give up. I know a lot of us, especially someone from the disability community, sometimes we get frustrated, right? Especially when we're trying to explain ourselves and communication style or ways to get around things. A lot of time we get rejected. And so I always tell my community, like, you have to keep trying. There's 1 billion people in the world. Why are you stressed out by one person that cannot bother to communicate with you?
Right.
And so people don't realize that until later down the road. And they're like, oh my God, I should have not been so hard on myself. And that's something I always keep telling myself, like, don't be hard on yourself if you cannot communicate with someone. There's somebody else out there that's willing to communicate with you and want to support you.
Welcome to 60 Minutes with a Woman. Today we have Kellina Powell. It's a pleasure having you here with us.
Yes, I'm excited to be here. Hello, everybody.
So I'm going to give a little more of your background to the listeners. Kellina, you're known as the Deaf Queen Boss. You are an empowered coach, author, and speaker, passionate about breaking stigmas and amplifying underrepresented voices. After losing your hearing as a child, you turned your challenges into a mission to help deaf and disabled individuals embrace self-love and confidence. Through coaching, storytelling, and advocacy, you inspire people to transform fear into strength. You are also an entrepreneur expanding into real estate and financial services, championing representation for women in male-dominated fields. Kellina, you're an activist, and your voice ensures that every person feels seen, heard, and celebrated. And I want to welcome you warmly here on this podcast.
Thank you for having me. And yes, I'm so many hats. For those who are probably like, oh my God, this girl is busy. Yes, I am.
She is busy. Like today, she already told me she had a full day. After that, she's checking out.
Yes.
Well, Kellina, let's learn about everything about your life and how you started. Tell us how it started really with your hearing, for example, and also how you felt emotionally and in life, going through life was a deaf disability.
Yeah, so I actually all started by an infection. So I was a little girl. I was going to daycare, and I don't know what happened. Something happened after daycare, and there was an eardrop that was prescribed for me. And I don't know if the staff members must have put too much in my ear, or they forgot to put it in certain time. However, that same day, actually, everybody, I became deaf on the same day. I went home. I couldn't hear the TV. I couldn't hear my mom. And that's when my mom realized that I couldn't hear her because she was actually calling me, actually. So thankfully, my mom tapped my shoulder. And
Yeah.
when I jumped, I jumped. I was like, oh my God, Mom, I didn't see you. I didn't hear you. And my mom's like, what are you talking about? And I hear my mom moving her lips, but I couldn't figure out what she was trying to say. And I said, Mom, I can't hear you, but I can see what your lip is moving. Since that day, it's been a huge turn for my family because I'm the only person that is deaf in my family actually, and so it's very different. However, it was just a good experience for everybody because everybody learned how to communicate different, and so it was a challenge at first. I'm not gonna lie to anybody; it was very, very, very hard in the beginning because
Yeah.
my family was trying to figure out my school. I was just 4 years old. Right? I had a 4 year old to go to school, kindergarten, and so I know my family was trying to think what is best for me growing up. So yeah, that's my life story. That's how it got started.
Yeah, that's we spoke about it last time. It's one thing to be born with a disability, but it's another to actually, have lived the beginning of your life in a certain way and having to relearn everything. Especially, it's almost from a day to another. You have to adjust your whole lifestyle, like you mentioned, also school and everything that was in regards of your development as a child. But I also mentioned that I think it's an amazing testimony of you know don't give up.
Thank you.
I wanted to ask you also, what were some of your dreams growing up, and how did those dreams guide you toward becoming an advocate for people with disability?
Very funny story. I always wanted to become a neurosurgeon. I love studying the brain. Yes, it's kind of
Wow.
weird. However, I had a guiding counselor who never believed in my dream. And so she kind of, you know, disrespected me in that way in grade 12. And so so I'll tell everybody the story. So basically, she forgot to put my grades in for post-secondary, and I had to stay back in high school for an extra year. And so I had to change my life all over.
Oh my word.
Yeah, and so I didn't know what to be, and I was confused. And something came to me when I was having a conversation with my grandmother, and I said, "Oh my gosh, she ruined my life. I can't be a successful person." And I always wanted to dream of helping people, but I didn't know what it was. It would always be my dream, and that's why I wanted to become a neurosurgeon. And something clicked into me that, you know what? I don't want anybody go through what I went through in high school.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so when I literally pulled up my stock, got good grades, got accepted to a lot of universities, and and that's when right there I knew I wanted to get myself out there, not just in a doctor way, but kind of in a social media way, or even just speaking on big stages, because I want to tell my story to other people who gone through the same similar situation, because a lot of us who are disabled, we always have at least that one person that's doubting us, right? And so I
Yes.
wanted to get that message out there, and that's how I knew I wanted to do what I wanted to do. And how it leads me to where I am today, it actually started by two people. So I was actually working at a big park. For those who don't know, I'm in Canada, Toronto, and there's a big park called Canada's Wonderland. And there was a little boy approached me. He was also deaf, and he had the hearing aids in both of his ears. Myself, it was very hot that day. For those who don't know, my hair's always in a curly, curly, curly every summer. And my hair was in a ponytail. The boy's like, "Look, man, it's like I'm out the deaf. Look at my ears." And I'm like, "Oh, no way, this is so cool." And his mom came up to me full of joy, and she almost cried because she said, "You just give that hope to my son that nothing's wrong with him." And I've been
Yeah.
telling my son that. And I was like, "Oh my God, no way." And she's like, "I never met a hard of hearing person like you who's very socialized, talking, being a customer." And I'm like, "No way." And so that was one of the stories that inspired me, because I inspired a little boy. And the second story
Yeah.
happened was when I was in my last year of university. I actually ended up having a deaf professor. And when I tell you guys, my mouth dropped. It was so inspiring for me to see someone that looked like me represent my community is doing amazing. And so for me, just not by a little boy, but also someone that I can look up to. And I had a great conversation with my prof, and I was asking him, like, how can we make changes? Like, what can we do to make this world better and be more inclusive for the deaf community? And he's like, "Kellina, there's not a lot of authors that write in books. You should also write a book." And
Ah.
and that's how I actually came across writing my very first book. It was him telling me to do that. And then he also said, "You can become a coach." And coach was not a big back in the time, but he gave
Yes.
me some ideas and ways to navigate around my degree. So for those who don't know, I have a psychology degree. And so, yeah.
That is wonderful. I love when people see the potential and hand out very valuable information, and then the person who's receiving it does the best, with it. It's you never know what you're saying, how this is going to influence somebody. I mean, you're doing this right now every day, and your teacher back in the day did a wonderful thing because you have a beautiful soul, you have a lion's heart, and you're literally, changing the world with what you do. So how powerful. to collaborate on a human level like that. It says a lot about sometimes we have the impression that your story doesn't mean anything, or it's just say it out loud, just tell your story, just share it. You never know what can happen, what people can do with it. It's beautiful. Would you say also that resilience turns the challenges of disability into a unique strength among almost like a superpower with the right resources in place?
100%, 100%,
Yes.
100%. It was hard in the beginning, like I said, but I never give up. I never thought so bad about myself. I knew it was going to take me time to get to where I need to go
Right.
because of my disability, but that should never define my success. And that's something I always tell
That's
people who
right.
are disabled. It never allowed it to define your success because you will get there. It's a matter of
Yeah.
time, a matter of patience. And that's when I realized that people, two things, the two words, patience and time. So it's all about resilience.
Do you think that maybe the stereotypes or maybe the limiting beliefs that we impose on people with disability, that society imposes on them, makes them feel that they can't do it before even
100%.
trying?
100%. It's so sad because we don't see a successful person who's disabled that talks about their story on social media. And for me, like
Yeah.
for example, when I was younger, I used to go on YouTube and I try to look for successful disability person and I haven't. And I feel like that's why a lot of people are so limited about the disability community because one, not enough awareness, two, not enough reputation. And I feel like that's the problem nowadays. And that's why my goal is to grow my YouTube channel, talk about my life story. I'm really trying to get out there, but it's very hard because I have so many
Yes.
things going on. But, I will make it happen. I promise myself that because I want other people to see that no matter what kind of disability you have, you can still become successful. But yeah.
And you're young, and it's all about consistency. It's like people tend to rush things because we have the impression sometimes that we are doing so much in a day that we should already be out there in every people's thoughts. But the thing is, it really does take time. And often when I listen to mentors, this is the first thing they would tell me, especially when I was younger, is like, don't rush things. Yes, you have your gifts and talents and you're motivated and you're hungry, but it will happen at the right time. Just don't give up. Wherever people tend to give up, this is the people who never made it. Just keep on going. So it's all about keeping faith. And I'll say, if you are motivated for the right reasons, your drive is not even going to let you give up.
Exactly.
That's
Exactly.
what happens.
Exactly.
So becoming a visible voice for your community can also be intimidating, right? Especially at the beginning when you're still trying to find your identity and you're wondering if this is going to work. Can you share how you navigated fear and expectation that came with that role?
Yes. Oh my goodness. That's like literally my life every day. And I'm not gonna lie, right? I feel like you have role models, you have people that look up to you. You have your family, you have your coworkers, you have your
Yeah.
staff. So for me, the fear that I always had when I was growing up was not being able to communicate with someone. That's my biggest
Okay.
fear, right? Not being able to hear them correctly or the fear of them having an accent, right?
Oh,
Right?
I have an
No,
accent, so
no, no.
that's
You're just
terrible.
good. You're just not that
You didn't tell me
bad.
about that.
No, 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 not at all. And it's always a fear of like, oh my God, like, is this person going to accommodate me? Oh my God, is this person going to be really thoughtful? Right?
Yeah.
So that's the fear I always get. And how do I live by it? I realized that not everybody is meant for you. And I had to learn that the hard
Yeah.
way. When I communicate with somebody, I have to not have high expectation. I did have high expectation of somebody, like, okay, well, you should know how to accommodate me, right? And so I realized that everybody's educated different ways. Not everybody's educated the same. And sometimes you do have to really take a step back and tell yourself, like, okay, well, we have to work with this person. And I feel like it takes time and courage for somebody like myself to do that. I know a lot of
Yeah.
us, especially someone from the disability community, sometimes we get frustrated. right? Especially
Yeah.
when we're trying to explain ourselves in communication style or ways to get around things, a lot of time we get rejected. And that's why a lot of us get frustrated. And that's why sometimes we don't bother working with someone. And so I
Yeah.
always tell my community, like, you have to keep trying because you never know. There's billions of people in the world. And, like for example, the London, UK, I remember I was seeing something on TikTok and this lady came to United States. She realized how it was less educated about accessibility compared to the one in UK. And so it's not just where you come from, but also too, there's so much more. And that's why I always tell people there's 1 billion people in the world. Why are you stressed out by one person that cannot bother to communicate with you?
Right.
Right? And so people don't realize that until later down the road and they're like, oh my God, I should have not been so hard on myself. And that's something I
Yes.
always keep telling myself, like, don't be hard on yourself if you cannot communicate with someone. There's somebody else out there that's willing to communicate with you and want to support you. And so that's something I learned down the road even when I started my business, same thing. I had to learn how to figure out how to communicate with someone online. Same thing. I had to figure it out. If it doesn't work, I always honestly I always tell people make a plan, right? Make a plan. Ask the person ahead of time. Ask the person to provide you questions, just like Sarah did. She could provide me a question ahead of time, like, hey, these are the questions, just want to let you know. So that way I understand what's happening. So yeah.
This is just out of curiosity for me. Does it make sense for someone to, for example, ask, or this is just out of context and not even in the questionnaire, but it's between you and I wanted to ask you, for example, when we first spoke, if I had to speak a little more slowly, if now I had to speak a little louder. I wanted to accommodate you. I really wanted you to be a guest on the podcast, and I wanted to do the best so you can feel comfortable. But at the same time, I was shared between the feeling of wanting to ask that and the feeling of not wanting to, you know, just be offensive and ask something I shouldn't, right? And so, what is the best thing to do in that situation?
Yeah, so everybody asks me that question all the time. I always tell people
Okay,
before you ask your question, just tell them straight up. I do not want to sound offensive, but can you please educate me on this? That's a great way to ask,
got it. Okay,
right? And then you go out and the person 100% is going to say, yeah, so what is it you want to ask? And then you can ask your question. And that's it.
wonderful,
Yeah.
wonderful. I definitely followed your lead on that one. I said, if she doesn't say anything, I'm not going to say anything. If she says something, then I'm going to, she opens the door, I'm going to do it. But there was most definitely kind of an apprehension on my end because I was like, I wanted to do good, do right by you. So, basically, what strategies do you have in place? So you said that you had to overcome that, so you've developed a strategy to make it happen. I'm assuming you also teach that to people that you coach, right? Can you tell us more about those strategies?
Yeah, so it depends on what strategy they're looking for. So usually, when I do workshop as well, I provide like strategy resources for people who are like, say, for example, Zoom call or what type of online platform is more acceptable. So I go through each one, what's the difference between one of them, and I even teach the communication style face to face as well, right? A lot
Yes.
of people don't know how to communicate with people face to face. They freak out, and they're like, oh my God, am I doing this right? Do I need to not move my head? And I said, no, just make sure your lip is facing the person. That's it. As long as we can read your lips, you're okay. But you also have to be conscious about the noises, right? It's very important that you are in a quiet space. Make sure you are not in a loud space. Because a lot of times when you're in a loud space, we cannot communicate at all. And
Okay.
also too, sometimes, not all of us, but sometimes it's best if you have a mustache that covers your lips.
Yes.
Sometimes, if you can, not shave it all off, but make sure we can read your lips, to see your lips. If you
Okay.
have a mustache, yes.
That's important information. I know there is a lot of lip reading, but I wasn't sure if now once you have the earring set, you could actually skip that part of this, or if this was still included in the process.
Yeah, so my hearing aid, so I always work with my hearing aid 100%. But again, I rely on lip reading as well. So I'm also listening in my ears, but also lip reading at the same time.
As a young activist stepping into public speaking, how easy or difficult was it to find support and resources for your journey?
Okay, so it was actually interesting when I first did it, to be honest with everybody. A friend of mine, she basically invited me to a networking event. And so I said, there's no way I'm going. Like, just hell no. I'm not a business owner. Before, at the time, you guys, I was not even thinking about it. And it was at the time when I was actually going to school. She said, Kellina, come with me. You talk a lot. Okay? Come with me. You just talk a lot. So I just said, there's no way and imagine though, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I was nervous because I never been to a networking event before. And I was nervous about who am I going to meet? And I always have that back thought, like, am I able to communicate with them? Is it going to be too loud for me? Is it going to be dark? Is it going to be light? I don't know. And so I had to remind myself, like, you're just going there to have fun,
Yes.
right? And I'm okay. I'm just gonna go have fun, meet new people, and that's it. Even if I just meet 2 or 3 people, I'm okay. And so I did that. And little did I knew, I actually met a teacher who, a deaf teacher. And so I don't know how, but I think my hearing aid was showing. And she approached me. She's like, "Oh my God, you're hard of hearing." Like, and I said, "Yeah, yeah, I am. How are you?" She just randomly came up to me. And so she's like, "No, I'm a teacher for the deaf, and I would love for you to come in to speak to my students." I said,
Oh,
"Pardon?
wow.
Me? I don't know nothing about speaking." And so she's like, "Yeah, come on, Kalina, you can do it. Like, I would love for you to talk about your personal story." And so I explained to her what happened to me, just like I spoke to you guys earlier about my guiding counselor, didn't put my grade in, and she not believing in me and stuff like that. And she was inspired by me by that. And she's like, "You know what? Can you please tell that story to the students? Because I would love for them to see how you're doing." And so I did, and I did a 1 hour, it was during COVID actually. I did a 1 hour conversation with the student on Zoom call, and it was success. Student loved it. Student followed me on Instagram, and I was just learning and growing on Instagram. And so it was so amazing. And everything's done. She really loved my story, and she connected with me and collaborated with me with so many people in the deaf school. And from there, I have been connecting with people ever since. And then, yeah, I had a great support system. I did, with from my family and friends. However,
Yes.
you will realize that some friends are not meant to be there. And so I had to learn that not everybody is meant to be, not in your life, but some people are not meant to be there. And so I did have to go through up and down with friendship, businessship, and
Right.
all that stuff. And I had to learn not everybody will always be your true friends, right?
It's true.
And so I had to learn that, and I didn't realize how bigger and bigger and bigger I was getting with my speaking engagement, and I didn't realize that I was just having fun with that. And so I was like, okay, cool, no problem, I'm fine. And then that's when I realized, I remember one time a friend of mine reached out and she's like, "Oh, like you're always so busy." And so I was like, well, if you cannot respect my new life I have, then the door is over there. And so
That's what happens, very often, blooming or becoming the butterfly you're supposed to become is like that. You fly away from what doesn't serve you. And although you have all the doors open for people, if they want to come back with the right intentions, you definitely need to follow your dream and make sure that you are happy in what you're doing and you're not pleasing anybody but yourself. We only have one life, right? It's I think more and more the newer generation are more aware about that. Older generations were more, they had to suppress it and be people pleaser. I am glad we're stepping out of that, because it's one of the most demanding threats, sorry, of character that is out there. It's always pouring from your cup into people's cup and feeling empty. That's the worst that can happen. So I'm glad you were able to put yourself first. And once again, it says a lot about you. That's the thing that I love about you. You're full of fire, but it's like a soft, beautiful fire. You know what? It's actually not a soft, beautiful. It's a powerful fire. But I feel that you light your with your candle, you light every other candle that you come across. And that's the beauty, and that's the beauty of what you do. I can only imagine being one of those kids in that classroom looking at you up the in front of the class, and be like, wow, she's young, she's beautiful, she's talented, she's not afraid. Does that mean I can be that person too? It's you're really doing an amazing work. I'm such a big fan.
Thank you, Sarah.
It's insane, really. But when it comes to resources, I also wanted to ask you, because you're a coach and you travel and you speak, everywhere. Do you need to accommodate the stage or accommodate something, so you can work properly? And is this available to you, or do you have to do extra work to make it happen?
It really depends on the organization. I understand that everybody has a different accommodation style, different pricing. I would say, as of yet, I did have one issue. I really did with one issue, which is with online actually, and I think they wanted to use it's like a platform, and it was very difficult, and I was just like, this is something that won't fit for me. And so if a person told me straight up, like, unfortunately this is the only platform we will be using, I can't use any other platform. And so I couldn't do my speaking. And so I said, okay, not a
Okay.
problem. I'm out. I cannot force myself onto somebody who doesn't want to be served and want something better for the audience.
Right.
And so I had to go away. I would never, never, I always tell people, do not go extra mile for something knowing that these people want you, but they should be meeting you halfway. It has to be halfway work. And so I haven't yet, but the resources that I use personally, especially for traveling is very difficult because the airport is out of their control, right? So there's nothing they can do. So I
Yeah.
always tell people, if you are going to be flying out, make sure you time manage everything. Make sure you get to the airport an hour and a half earlier. Number two, there's a resource called Sunflower. It's actually at the airport for people who are disabled. So if you are disabled, don't forget to go to the airport and ask for the Sunflower resources. For those who don't know what it is,
Yeah.
it's basically you wear it around your neck, and it basically alerts the flight attendant that you are disabled, just to help them to show like, okay, this person's disabled, we have to accommodate this person. So that is one of the biggest resources I always give to people when you're at the airport. Definitely ask for that. So.
Perfect, perfect. That's wonderful. And I love the fact that in your coaching, you're not only teaching how to them how to feel empowered and how to step out of their comfort zone, but also to respect their boundaries.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That is so very crucial. And also not feel vexed or hurt or upset if something doesn't go the right way, because it just means it wasn't meant to happen. And there is nothing else to it.
I 100% agree. Sometimes it's very hard to help somebody with the boundaries. I know people ask me all the time, especially other coaches, like, how do you teach your client how to create boundaries? And I always tell them, you have to you have to speak in their language. If you do not speak in their language, they're not gonna help. They're not gonna work with you. And
Yeah.
that's something I always do before I even do coaching with them. I actually talk to them in their language, like, okay, what is it? How can I help you? What is it that you use? How can we make this happen for you? It's not about
Yeah.
me. And a lot of time, a lot of coaches out there, they are not benefit, right, for some people.
Yeah.
And I hear a lot of people that they got scammed by a previous coach, they was not good. And I was just like, why? It's just like you should be wanting to help people. And that's something I learned is that you just give that person a negative experience, now they're afraid of
Yeah.
asking for help. And that's when I notice when people come to me. Yeah, and it's so sad. And I was just like, okay, and like I told them, you have to know what you want. And I also tell clients, or even like people hop on like discovery call with me, and they're like, Kellina, you're so straight up. You're so helpful. And I thank you. And I said, anytime. Because at the end of the day, like you said there, you have one life to live. Why would you stress somebody else for what? For what? I have
Yeah.
too much on my plate. The last thing I need is someone stressed out about me. No, thank you.
We just have preconceived notions sometimes that are, and we get overworked around what we think, how we think things should happen. And I think it's even more accentuated and worse when you have a disability, because now you have to navigate in a world that, like you said, is not welcoming you the way you should be welcomed, right? Because it's not created really for your disability. So it's extra stress. And that's why I love the fact that you're coaching boundaries. It's also saying if it's not happening, it's not happening. And there is a lot of peacemaking in living life overall. But even worse when once again you feel like there is preconceived notion, like I said, limiting beliefs, and then you put higher expectations on yourself because you want to fit in so bad. So it's really amazing. I love what you do, really.
Thank you.
And talking about now your coaching program, can you tell us more about your program and what typical experience looks like, and what atypical experience, sorry, looks like when you work with a client?
So usually, so it really depends, right? Some clients will come to me for, businesses, right? They want to start their
Yes.
business and they're nervous and they are disabled themselves. Because being a business owner and having a disability, it takes a lot of time. It's a lot of
Right.
patience, trying to figure out different strategies, different platforms, what works for them, what doesn't work for them. And so what I do is I meet with my clients once a week for 1 hour. We go over what they are expecting to work together. It's not what I offer to them. However, I do have homework for them to do when they're not with me because it showed them that they can be independent. I wanted
Yeah.
them to feel independent. For someone with disability, sometimes we feel like we can't be independent because we have to rely on people. And so I want them to give that little hope and that little push and that you can be independent without me
Yes.
or anybody else. Here are the resources. Here are the community that you can join. There's a Facebook group that you can also join. And so I give them that space and that blossom for them to be like, I can grow. I can breathe now. Because they have someone that looks like me or someone that has a reputation. And
Yeah.
number two, for those who are struggling with the mental health, which I also help with that, I
Yeah.
do one-on-one coaching for those who don't know. I do between 3 to 6 month program session. That's it. Once a week for 1 hour, we go over everything that we I can do to help you become the better self. And the reason for that is, for example, if someone comes to me saying, I have so much anxiety when I'm talking to a hearing person. I experienced that with myself when I was younger, and I knew how to break
Yes.
that. So I teach them idea, strategy, even role play activities, so that they
Yeah.
have an idea, so that way they're not triggered when that happens. So I go through all that role play homework session and giving them that role to be independent.
How important is mental health in your program?
It's super important, super important. A lot of people don't realize that there's a huge number of mental health in the disability community. It's very, very huge. People don't realize that until later in their studies or later until they find out. And it's really
Right.
huge because I've been through it myself. And I've seen it with a lot of my friends who have all these mental health and they're like, oh my God, I'm depressed. Because there's not a lot of resources for us out there anymore. And there's a lot of long wait lists to join any community program
Yeah.
for us. And it's very difficult for us to really be independent and really to be out there. And it's so important for me because I've been through it and I don't ever want anybody to go through that, knowing that there's not enough resources in the mental health space, unfortunately, even when there's not enough funding with the government, right? The government don't have enough
Yes.
funding for that. And so it's very unfortunate that sometimes they have to go private, right? They just have to go online and look for affordable coaching,
Yeah.
but they cannot struggle and wait for the government funding program to reopen the waiting list or be on the waiting list. So, yeah, that's why it's important to me.
It sounds like a real journey. It sounds like a very difficult experience, especially when you feel abandoned by society overall. And like you said, there is an issue with financial accessibility to programs. It gets expensive, and obviously it depends on your financial situation. It's I love the fact that there is like communities online on Facebook. I have never looked into it, but I do believe there is a stronger power in community that you can ever expect from the government, anyways. So I'm glad people are stepping up for themselves. And once again, people are showing up like you, being coaches and wanting to raise awareness. This is what is going to change the world ultimately, really. I wanted to ask you also what role parents play in empowering children with disability, and how can they support them in stepping into their leadership role?
This is a good question. I get this a lot when it comes to parents. I love working with parents. I love helping them to allow their children to be independent. I love this question. Parents play a huge, huge role because parents make decisions for us 24/7,
Yes.
right? And when I became deaf at the age of 4, it was my parents' decision what to do with me, right? I could have went to a different direction, or I could have went
Yeah.
to a hearing school full time. Where thankfully there was a deaf school down the street from my home. I actually went to a deaf school in the morning, and then I went to the hearing school in the afternoon. So that was the smartest thing that my parents ever done for me, because I learned how to communicate in two different communities, and it was very, very cool. And so parents may play a key role, because if parents are not present and helping us, we wouldn't be here right now. And like they
Yeah.
all say, parents are our first person that we look up to.
Yeah.
When we're home, we go to our parents. When we're at school, we miss our parents because we're so glued to our parents. And a lot of times people don't realize, and I get it, parents would never be a parent, but for us, especially somebody who is disabled, my mom, for example, my grandmother, my aunt, my uncle, they're all very protective of me, 100%. And if anything happens to me, they're crying and they're like, oh my God, like, no. But at the end of the day, you will never stop being a parent. And I feel
Yeah.
like parents need to let their child grow a little bit when they get older. And I noticed that a lot of parents are very protective, especially when they have a disabled
Yes.
child, because they don't want nothing to happen to them. And I always tell parents, I always encourage them, put your child in activities that they like so that they can grow their independence without you being present. And the reason for that is because they won't be able to grow. But at the end of the day, you are our number one person to help us, accommodate us. We're always going to be there. So parents and families play the key role because they're our number one support system. I know some people don't always have that. I have a client that I don't have a family, I don't have anything, I'm by
Yeah.
myself. And I would, her and I went through resources. We went through community. What can she do for fun? What does she like to do to get her mind off? Right? You have to be very strategy how you want to go around your life. And so parents play a huge role. Pop to my mom, my family. They are the reason why I keep going. They are the reason why.
So, would you say that parents sometimes have to step back and maybe even allow the child to put themselves in an uncomfortable situation just to learn from it?
100%. I will tell you guys,
Okay.
my mother put me in so many uncomfortable activities. I was like, Mom, why are you putting me in basketball? For example, my mom put me in basketball. Basketball too loud for me. But she was just teaching me something.
Yes.
She was just teaching me something. And a lot of
Yes.
parents wouldn't do that. Right? And I told a parent one time, and I said, yeah, my mom put me in basketball. And she's like, what? Why did she do that? Oh my God. I said, no, I'm grateful that she did because she taught me how to adjust sound.
Right. 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 Were you able to play?
Yes.
You managed the noise and,
Yeah.
and the stress and you were able to get through? Wow. So, see,
She taught me a lot.
that's beautiful.
Yes. My mom's a huge fan of basketball. So that's why. Yeah. No.
She said, nobody's gonna hurt you, only me. I'm gonna put you in the worst situation, but
Literally.
at least it's out of love.
Literally. And then my
Yeah.
grandmother would be there all the time, make sure I was okay. Like, my family just give me that push. Like, you're doing this activity,
Yes.
you're doing that. Because at the end of the day, and I always tell parents, it's about how you treat your child.
Right.
It's all about how you do it and how you treat your child. Because if you do treat your child like that, carefree, careless, 100% your child will be careless and carefree when they get older. Because of you. You taught them the power of confidence in themselves.
It's true for every child. Obviously, parents need to be the ones who teach the real life lessons at home and putting them, like we said, in situations where they get to experience discomfort so they can learn from it in a safe space. But even more, once again, when you have your child with disability, because the world is not easy, and if they want to survive in the world, they might need to actually, you know, be a little more, yeah, just have this armor, and nothing can touch them. And when you're too protective of your child, they can't build that armor. So
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
And look at you, you're shining, you're beautiful, you have a beautiful aura. So your mama did an amazing job, your family did an amazing job, and you're the living proof of your theory, really.
Thank you.
it, so what do you find are most common with fears and anxiety when it comes to disabled and deaf community? You spoke about mental health. There is a lot of common patterns. What would those be?
I would say not being able to communicate is my number one fear and not be able to
Okay.
hear the environment. So, for example, when you take the public transportation, let's say there's a
Yeah.
fire alarm happening. Can you hear it?
Oh,
Right? So, for me, that's my biggest fear of that. Being in public, not understand what's going around, having to look consistently to make sure I'm okay. There's nothing going on crazy because I cannot always fully hear everything where I go all the time.
yeah.
Right? So
Yeah.
that is one of the biggest things that a lot of us go through. When we're in public, we have to be conscious of what's going on, our surroundings. Sometimes it's exhausting for us because we want to make sure that nothing is happening to
Absolutely.
us and making sure that, nothing weird is happening. And then, I
Yeah.
remember one time, like, oh my God, I'll never get this straight, you guys. So I was in university, I was walking, and I see a bunch of kids running around, and I had no idea what was happening. And I just hide in the corner because I
Yeah.
didn't know what's happening. And I just like,
Yes.
oh my God, like, why is everybody running? With the, like, I don't
Yes.
know. And it was so scary because I can't hear gunshot very well, you know?
Yes. Yes.
Right? I don't know how far it was. It was a very scary moment for me when I was in university. I had no idea what was happening. To this day, I don't know what happened. And so when I see people stop running and I see people walking again, I'm able to be myself again. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I think I'm okay. I think nothing's going on. Oh my God. And then sometimes I pull out my phone, go on the news to make sure there's nothing going on in my area. Thankfully, at my York University, there's a Twitter and there's a security guard. So they will
Yeah.
notify you if there's anything going on campus. They'll let you know and you get a notification. But luckily, I did not get anything. So I think that is one of the biggest fear and anxiety I get when I'm in public. The majority of us go through that. But at the same time, like, we have to learn how to look around, be cautious, make sure we look.
That's thank you for sharing that with us. I actually never thought about it. Obviously, um I can I wouldn't I can't relate, but I can absolutely empathize with how you must have felt at that moment. It's a scary situation already for people. So when you don't know what's going on and you can't rely on a friend or anything, I can only imagine the how you're completely submerged by the fear. Um, you still recommend people to find them to go out there and to put themselves in situations like that? Yes, you would still recommend that. Okay,
100%.
it's still part of the learning process. Okay.
It is. It is. And the reason for that is because, like, say, for example, you go move to a whole new town, right? Everybody's
Yes.
moving, everybody's traveling, everybody's doing something.
Yes.
But if you cannot put yourself in an uncomfortable situation, then how will you know for the future?
Right. You stay stuck in your little world, small world, your safety net, and then you're not seizing opportunities. You're not able to adjust. You're not able. Yes, I hear your message. It's stressful because life is already hard, but like, yeah. And in your experience, what's needed from companies and society to ensure people with disability have equal opportunities and representation? Because I'm sure it's still very not where it should be.
Yeah, it hasn't improved a lot, even though we're in 2025.
Yes.
However, there's certainly improvement on building the wheelchair. Unfortunately, not all buildings are acceptable for people who's on wheelchair, right? A lot of people on wheelchair sometimes have a hard time getting to elevators, right? Sometimes elevators are tiny and they can't get in. And number two, more ASL interpreter. A lot of time, ASL interpreter are not included in a lot of organizations. I noticed that
Yes.
they always make excuses saying, oh, ASL interpreter is expensive.
Okay.
And number three, I would say is that they need to start hiring more disability person in the company to make sure that there's somebody in the community that can show up for the disability community to understand what is it that this company can do better for people who are disabled. But those are the
Yes.
top three I can say right now. But the list goes on. So
Would you say that empowering there is a first step of empowering the community first before they can get the jobs? Or would you say that companies should actually accommodate and find ways of empowering the disabled community?
company needs to find ways, have to
Okay.
empower people because we're coming into a company that we have no clue we're working for,
Okay.
right? It makes more sense if employer say, hey, this is what we do, this is how we accommodate people. Are you someone with disabled? Yes or no, right? Companies should address that all the time.
That's very, very good to know. Do you sometimes do workshops in companies
Yes,
to
so
advocate for?
yes,
Yes.
sometimes I do, yes, yeah. I have been reached out to a lot of them, but nobody has been called me back yet. So it's very unfortunate that some companies feel uncomfortable to have that discussion in the company.
And we said it earlier, there is a bunch of beautiful qualities that come with, having disabilities, knowing, once again, overcoming obstacles, working challenges, seizing, being able to value opportunities, resilience. There is a lot that comes with the fact that, you struggled in life that builds a lot of character. And I definitely know they're missing out in not being more inclusive, but I know people like you is what's needed to bridge the gap. 100%. It takes someone like you to show that, wait a minute, she's incredible, we would hire her any day. And now you have the stereotype that falls, right?
Exactly. And that's what the problem is. The stereotype is bigger than ever had been, right? And so it's just, there's nothing we can do. And I know like it's super hard to build the gap in, but I tell people sometimes you have to keep going or you give up. But for me personally, I'm not giving up. I will still follow up until I bug them.
Right. Especially now with AI, I feel that they might not even want to make more efforts that they should.
Exactly.
So this is going to be a real challenge for the next years. But still, I think the battle is definitely I think we're most definitely winning the battle when it comes to inclusivity nowadays. It's happening. I can see the world changing. Many things that would not have happened, 30 years ago are now happening. And it's a beautiful thing to witness. So I'm hoping for the best, really, for the next generations. And you spoke about also that you wrote a book, right? And you actually wrote four?
Yes, I did right for.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So you got the knack for it. You realize you had a talent for it. I love it. We're gonna link the books in the description down below, but I want to speak about one in particular. It's Every Day I'm Just Deaf: Life in a Hearing World with Deaf Queen Boss. Can you tell us more about what is the book about and what motivated you to write it?
Yeah, so the book is actually a poetry book, everyone. So who does not love poem? Like I love reading poem. Like oh my god, I love
Yes.
it. And I just wanted to write a book about me being deaf daily basic to really inspire my community and also educate people who's not aware about the deaf community and really understand what it's like to be deaf in the hearing community. Just
Yes.
be conscious, like, okay, what it's like to be deaf. And I'm sure people always wonder what it's like to be deaf, in a hand community. And so I just wanted to write a poem book. And honestly, I started writing my book when I was 21. Like, I was 20 years old, turning 21. Yeah, so 21. And I just published it on Amazon by myself. So I am a self-published. I did not get any much help at all. I got a few help from my manager at the time. And I became the best-selling author twice with my very first book. And so it was very awarding opportunity. And ever since my book published, a lot of people have been reaching out to me to do more speaking engagement, to do more workshops. So it was very, very cool to see how my book was able to drive more marketing than I had to do. So
Yeah. Written words weigh a lot in our world. It's worth so much. You can really dive into the story of the author and feel what they feel and understand what they went through. I love books. I think they're just a superpower. It's like a weapon, but you make it whatever you want to make of it. It's just a powerful, magical way of sharing stories. And I love the fact that you used that specific power to share your story, because I think that it impacts a lot. Books have a major impact on people. So really wonderful. Once again, I will be adding all the links in the description down below. And I would like to ask you, which stories in your life do people often relate to, and which do you wish more people would ask you about?
So a lot of people can relate to me on losing friendship, relationship, and employment. A lot of people
Okay,
can relate to me on that life story. And dating world. Actually, a lot of people relate with me a lot on dating world. And they're
that
like,
is funny.
I agree with you on that, whether they are disabled or not. But I know that a lot of people
Yes.
can relate with that. A lot of dating questions, a
Okay.
lot. And number two, I just wish more people asked me more about, the mental health challenges I had to go through. I know a lot
Yes.
of people are nervous to ask those type of questions because it's a sensitive topic. And
Right.
so I just wish a lot of people understood that, I did have to go through a lot of depression.
It's amazing that you're able to speak about it, because like you mentioned, sometimes it can be taboo, or we are not expecting somebody to go through and disability and mental challenges, which is a really real fact. And it's incredible that you're able to once again express the two sides of the situation. I love that you shared that with us. I'm wishing now more people will be able to open up that conversation with somebody they know, knowing that conversation helps a lot too.
Exactly.
So it's healing as well. So you also have decided to start, in real estate, right? You're tackling right now the real estate industry.
Yes.
What drew you to that field?
So for those who don't know, my family owned a real estate company, and so
Oh, I didn't know.
no, yeah, no one knew that.
Okay.
So, I always loved watching Property Brothers or those fixed up when I was little.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
used to watch it on TV, and I was so obsessed with it when I was a kid. And my mom was like, "Oh my God, turn that TV off!" Like I don't know why that little girl liked watching real estate stuff. And I told myself when I was little, and I said, "I'm gonna do something like that when I get older. I know I'm gonna do it. I will figure it out." And so now that I decided to, I would not make a difference to what I'm currently doing at the moment.
Yes.
It's a bridge for it, actually. Uh,
Really?
yeah, so basically, I want to do a partnership with a lot of disability organizations for those who are waiting for housing. And so I want
Oh.
to do a partnership like that and to help people who are disabled who've been waiting on the waiting list for very, 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 very long time. So I
Yeah.
want to provide housing and a disability organization.
That's a beautiful mission.
Thank you.
I really wish you a lot of success with that, because indeed it's needed. And once again, sometimes you need somebody who has the purpose really here at heart to make things happen and make it move, really shake the industry. So, but so far, tell us, what's been your experience in real estate, and have you noticed any type of barrier, or was it an easy process? And if you if you were exposed to challenges, how did you overcome them?
So I'm just starting real estate right now, everyone. So I have not gone there yet. But what I would say is this: I noticed that in real estate, everybody is go go go. Like no one wants to
Yes.
help each other, and I noticed a lot of people are more focused on the what you call it, the backtrack money or backtrack or something. I know that a lot of people are go, go, go. It's what I mean by that. A lot of them I know that don't want to make an impact. I noticed that they're just not
Mm,
really out there to do things to help other people. I feel like they just only work with people that know that's gonna give them the commission. And so it's very sad that I seen that a lot in real estate. And so I'm not a realtor myself. I'm not a realtor, everyone. I am an investor. So my whole goal is to buy abandoned building, houses, buy that, flip it. Like I said, I love watching flipping shows. And so I want to flip it and then give it to the disability organization. And so I
nice.
haven't gone through the barriers as
Very
of yet because
nice.
I'm still looking for properties. I'm still looking to see how I can connect with a lot of organizations for disability. So, and because I'm in Canada, but I'm also looking to see how I can also come to the United States with the business as well. So I'm trying to plan right now with everything.
That's a beautiful project. I think that the first step will probably be to speak with the city. They have a lot of incentives, and sometimes they work with developers to allocate, for example, one floor in their 23 23 floor building for, fair housing market. And the thing is, it's not enough. It's just deals that are being made so these builders can get to work and cash out on the property, right? Profit from it. But I know that the city is most definitely looking for more people looking to really make an impact, especially because it improves the lifestyle of the city overall. So they know it benefits them, but it's a long run. Whatever you do with the city or the state, it's always a long run.
Oh yeah, and I'm so ready for it. I'm so ready for it.
You're ready for it.
Oh yeah,
That's
I am.
awesome.
Throw the fire at me. I am so happy to take it.
There you go. And you do it one time and then after it gets easier. So that's always the first step. And then after, you just repeat.
Exactly. Repeat all over again.
I feel you're the one to do it. I feel that you are really the one to do it. So I believe in you 100%.
Thank you.
For young, deaf, or disabled people listening, what advice would you give them for owning their story, amplifying their voice, and prioritizing their mental health?
My biggest advice is number one, you have to learn how to love yourself. If you do not
Yes.
know how to learn how to love yourself, everything is going to go down. Number two, make sure you do not feel bad to cut off your friend, break up with that boyfriend, break up with that girlfriend for your own self. And number three, don't listen to the rumors, the drama. If you know it's not true, it's not true. Stick true to yourself, always. At the end of the day, this is your life, and you like me said before, you have one life to live.
Yeah.
There's too many kids, unfortunately, that are into violence, and it's not good. You
Yeah.
do not deserve that life. You deserve a happy, peaceful life. No matter what the social media say, at the end of the day, this is your life and your decision. So that would be my advice for youth that are listening.
That's a beautiful message. Thank you so much for that. And we are getting at the end of the podcast, and you went by very, very fast. I want to ask you one more time. Can you remind everybody one more time about your program, who it speaks to, and if people want to hire you for speaking events, and your website and the ways to reach out to you?
Yes, everybody can reach out to me on LinkedIn, Kellina Powell, or people can reach out to me on Instagram, Facebook. Just make sure if you are a listener, please message me podcast so I know it's you. Just because I do get a lot of random messages, as we always do. So please do that for me. And if you are currently looking for a speaker for youth empowerment, women empowerment, disability empowerment, I am your person. I am super, 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 super happy to help you. And that's it.
That's wonderful. Once again, I will add everything in the description down below. You'll be able to reach out to Kellina. She's wonderful. She really, right, you see her being very calm right now, but she's on the go all the time. She's got that busy schedule. So make sure you connect with her because she's very inspiring and she has so much to offer. But more, even more than that, she's creating a movement. And that's why I really, once again, wanted to have you here today on the podcast. It was a pleasure, but it was also an honor having you here. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, really.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you for having me, everyone. And I'm super excited for this podcast to be aired.